What would you do if you only had one wish? For one 11-year-old child suffering from Crohn's disease, the choice was easy. Steven Castro wanted to meet his childhood idol, New York Yankees shortstop Derek Jeter. With the help of the Yankees and Make-A-Wish Foundation, his dream came true.
Steven, this is Derek Jeter. I understand you're a big Yankee fan. So me and the Yankees, we're going to try to make your dream come true. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly you and your family out to New York. So we look forward to meeting you, buddy, getting a chance to hang out. See you soon.
Castro spent his day touring the stadium, watching batting practice, hanging out with the team, and meeting Yankees legend Reggie Jackson. The pandemonium didn't seem to faze Castro until he saw number 2 take the field. When Jeter walked up to him, all he could do was stare in awe. The two spent valuable time together, talking about everything from how to square up for a bunt to what Castro's favorite music preference was. By the end of it all, Castro was not just a visitor to the clubhouse, but a member of it. Castro is not the only person to choose meeting the Yankees for his wish. Many have, for many different reasons. But perhaps the one thing that unites them all is their passion for the game, its players, and America's favorite team.
Doesn't matter if you love or hate the New York Yankees, you have to admire and respect their rich and successful history. It all started in 1901 when the previous Baltimore Orioles moved to New York City and became the New York Highlanders. In 1913, they changed to the New York Yankees, and the name hasn't changed since. Their success started in the 1920s when the Yankees received multiple players from the Boston Red Sox. One of the players included was Babe Ruth, who would go on to become one of the greatest Yankees and one of the greatest players ever. By 1923, they called a new stadium in the Bronx home, legendary Yankee Stadium. The stadium was mostly paid for from Babe Ruth's success. However, the Babe wasn't the only star the Yankees had. Some called the 1927 Yankees the greatest team ever. Their lineup was known as Murderers Row. Hall of Famers Earl Combs, Tony Lazzeri, Lou Gehrig, and of course Babe Ruth made up the team's core. After Ruth retired, the Yankees found their next star, Joe DiMaggio. DiMaggio was one of the greatest hitters of all time and helped the Yankees to 4 consecutive World Series titles from 1936 to 1939. After DiMaggio, the next great Yankee star was Mickey Mantle. Mantle won 7 World Series titles with the Yankees, a 3-time AL MVP, and completed the Triple Crown, one of the hardest accomplishments in baseball. John Steinbrenner bought the team from CBS in 1973. Steinbrenner was poised to bring the Yankees back to the heights that they once reached in the past.
When you put the pinstripes on, you're not just putting a baseball uniform on. You're wearing tradition and you're wearing pride. And you're going to wear it the right way.
Steinbrenner and the Yankees took full advantage of the absence of a salary cap in the MLB. They were notorious for spending millions and millions of dollars to bring in the top free agents. They also drafted one of the biggest shortstops to ever play, Derek Jeter. Throughout the 2000s and today, the Yankees continue to be one of the top teams in the MLB. They still have the stars and die-hard fans. With a total of 27 World Series championships and 18 division titles, the New York Yankees have one of the best reputations in sports, and their history proves that.
On September 18th, 2001, the New York Yankees played what was their first game after the attacks on the Twin Towers that left the city and country in shambles. Facing off against the Chicago White Sox, fans met the previously hated Yankees with a standing ovation. Fans around the stadium held signs signaling unification between the White Sox and the Yankees, showing that this game was bigger than the game of baseball itself. Baseball resumed playing just 6 days after the attacks, and even then, some players were asking if they should be playing again so soon, but quickly realized how important of a role playing the game was to the healing process. Families of the victims of the gruesome attacks went on to share their stories with the players about loved ones who were once Yankee fans. As the playoffs arrived, everyone was rooting for New York. After dropping the first 2 against the Oakland Athletics in the division series, which was best of 5, fans could be heard screaming, "See you back for Game 5. The Yankees ended up winning the next 2 games to bring the series to a winner-take-all Game 5, in which Derek Jeter had one of his most memorable plays, the flip. In Game 5, the Yankees got off to a slow start, but ended up winning via walk-off while the crowd created an atmosphere almost no player had experienced before. As the Yankees continued their winning ways, they quickly found themselves in the World Series against the Diamondbacks. President George W. Bush was offered to throw out the ceremonial first pitch in Arizona, but quickly declined. President Bush knew he had to throw out the first pitch in New York at Yankee Stadium, and that's exactly what he did. Before Game 3 of the World Series, many feared that Al-Qaeda could possibly strike again and that a World Series game at the prominent Yankee Stadium could be a place for another attack. President Bush, sporting a bulletproof vest, took the mound in front of thousands and threw out the memorable first pitch, a pivotal pitch that is still felt by many, proving to be a monumental moment which symbolized a grieving country unifying and moving forward as one.
One of the most recognizable faces in Yankee history is that of George Steinbrenner, otherwise known as the Boss. The principal owner and managing partner of the Yankees is a native Ohioan, and under his tenure from 1973 to his 2010 death, he led the Yanks to 7 World Series titles and 11 pennants. In addition to his winning, Steinbrenner is known for his micromanaging, outspokenness, and role in driving up player salaries, which makes him one of baseball's most controversial figures. The rising cost of player salaries benefited few outside of the Yankees, as the Yankees are well positioned to combat rising salaries with the largest payroll in Major League Baseball. Now, it is easy to thump your chest when you cultivate players in your ranks and develop them into great big leaguers. However, that is not the Yankee way. Athletes such as CC Sabathia, Jacoby Ellsbury, Giambi, A-Rod, Mark Teixeira, Derek Jeter, and Mike Messina are all great players and all received some of the largest sport contracts at the time of their signing and in history. These contracts beg the question, do the Yankees buy wins? In the eyes of other baseball teams and fans, the answer is a resounding yes. As the Yankees' lead man, the audacious Steinbrenner was banned from baseball from 1990 to 1992. His crime? 9 years after signing Hall of Famer Dave Winfield and making him the game's highest paid player, Steinbrenner began feuding with Winfield and paid Howie Spira, a known gambler with mafia connections, $40,000 for embarrassing information on Winfield. Furthermore, Steinbrenner regularly leaked fictitious and derogatory stories about Winfield to the media and forced Yankee managers to pat him down in the lineup and even bench him. Steinbrenner was also notorious for his rapid turnover of management personnel. In his first 23 seasons, he changed managers 20 times and went through 13 publicity directors. This trend continues today in Yankee culture with the recent firing of Joe Girardi. Girardi had led the team to a 2009 World Series championship and most recently was one win away from winning the AL pennant. Girardi's success would be enough for almost every team in baseball, besides the New York Yankees and the entitlement that they feel to championships. From the enormous payroll to the troubled history of the Steinbrenner era, the Yankees sure have garnered enough disdain that can certainly be justified. However, are times changing in Yankee land?
These days, a new wave of exciting young Yankees has brought an even larger wave of adoring young fans. However, this new generation of Yankee fandom has grown up with a different Yankee experience than their parents and older siblings did. After A-Rod, Jeter, Rivero, and co retired, the Yankees went another direction. No longer did they spend millions and millions of dollars on the best free agents. General Manager Brian Cashman stayed strict on not spending over the luxury tax. Instead, the Yankees developed from within. Young, flame-throwing right-hander Luis Severino, outfielder Clint Frazier, and shortstop Gleyber Torres are capturing the hearts of young Yankee fans as the team starts to compete for division titles once more. But everyone rises when Aaron Judge's court is in session. Judge would go on to win the AL home run title, Rookie of the Year, and finish second in MVP voting, while leading the new-look Yankees to the 2017 American League Championship Series. When the team lost to the eventual World Series champion Houston Astros, it planted the seeds for what's ahead in the future. As the team moves forward, Judge and Severino have swaths of talent around them that'll keep the Yankees competitive for years and mold a new wave of young Bronx Bombers.
interesting to me. Brian McCann, a perennial all-star in the National League, went over to the Yankees, was going to be part of the Yankees' success. Traded over here because of the Sanchez success.
Here's a ground ball right side, could do it. The Houston Astros are world champions for the first time in franchise history.